Welcome to the Patryk Real Estate Show, where we explore the fascinating world of real estate investing with your host, Patryk Switek. Patryk is a dynamic young entrepreneur and an accomplished real estate investor who's passionate about helping others achieve financial freedom. Each week, we sit down with some of the most inspiring individuals in the real estate industry and delve into their personal journeys, lessons learned, and secrets to their success. Let's dive into this week's episode.
Welcome to the Patryk Real Estate Show, Assaf. I'm super excited to have you. For the people that don't know who Assaf is, he is the founder of the legendary software that does everything around the board. It's considered Turno, or previously Turnover BNB, that does everything across the board when it comes to operations. It is something that is critical to making sure that your operations across the board, your cleaners, your maintenance, everything is functioning correctly within your short-term rental portfolio. And it's something that I've used pretty extensively, especially for finding cleaners. I think that's one of the hardest things of this business is to actually get cleaners. And you guys have a whole cleaner marketplace that caters to that. But more so, I'm just really excited to have him on for his expertise across operations and really diving into all aspects of hosting. But Assaf, welcome to the Patryk Real Estate Show.
Patryk, it's a pleasure to be here. I've been listening to your podcast for a while, and I'm excited to be here today.
Cool, man. Yeah, and it's your turn now. So we're going to let you take the floor and tell us a little bit about how you came about into the short-term rental world. How did you even come up with developing a product? I come from a product background. I'm interested to hear where you found this need and how you fulfilled that need. And yeah,
I started as a host back in 2015, 2016. It was early days, and I was really excited to get some, what I thought would be like a nice passive income stream from the short-term rental. Turned out to be nothing but passive, and I just wanted to claim my time back that I was putting into it. And it turned out communicating with guests is fine, optimizing my listing is fine, but just managing the cleaning was just sucking the life out of me. Every time someone was about to come, I had to call multiple cleaners, wait for confirmation. They never did a good job. They never listened to what I asked for. Paying them was a hassle. So being an app developer by training, I've been building apps for many years. I figured, I'll just build an app and scratch my own itch. And boy, I underestimated this project.
Look where it is now. You're like, what did I just create? When was this? What year was this in?
2016.
2016. I think that was the dawn of short-term rentals. I think it wasn't as popular as it was once 2020 hit, the whole rave. Did you even think that there was money in this world from a product standpoint, or did you just develop it as a means to solve the problem that you had?
I always think about money, and I definitely thought there was money there. There's a lot of people, at the time, still there was a substantial number of people who were hosting, and I thought this was going to be a great product to help people automate and enforce their own standards and create their own processes. And we solved that, but what we realized was the bigger problem and the bigger opportunity was helping people find the cleaners that they needed to run their process.
There you go. That was where I struggled. So you got me on that one.
So we're not just helping the hosts here, we're also helping the cleaners. Because if you think it's annoying for you to schedule your cleaners, it's annoying for your cleaners to schedule with you. So we're just helping both sides create and stay on top of a schedule. They know exactly what you want. They can follow your process. And they can actually deliver a really great service experience. On their end, they want to satisfy you, the customer. And when you create an intuitive interface that allows people to express what they want and people on the other side to deliver you what you want, you're helping a lot of people, right? You're helping the host have a really seamless, stress-free process, and you helping the cleaner deliver a really elevated service experience, right? Think about it. Every time you finish, a project is completed on Turno, you get a report with like your inventory levels, any problems that are documented, all your checklist items crossed, all the images that you required. It's all in one place, packaged in a bow, and it just helps both sides.
100%. And what was it like before you came into this world and developed this product? What was it like? Because I've never lived in a world where this technology wasn't available. So partly curious on my end, but also, yeah, just.
Think about it. You get a reservation for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, great. I have someone checking in on Wednesday. So you call your favorite cleaner. They don't pick up. You send a text message, hey, can you come clean on Wednesday? They don't answer. Okay, I don't know if they're going to do it or not. Let me go to my number 2. You text them, like, oh, yeah, sure. I'll do it Wednesday. Then the first one gets back to you, sure, I'll do it. Oh, sorry. Never mind. Then the next day, guest changes their checkout. They're leaving another day. So now you have to do this all over again. And I don't know about you, but I just really hate being interrupted and having to get out of my flow to do this coordination task.
It's not that it's hard, right? It's the fact that it makes you so you have to be available at all times for in case this kind of thing happens. And the second thing is interrupting flow. I definitely feel that. Yeah.
And that's just one part of it. And then, okay, assuming that Wednesday checkout happens.
Yeah.
Then let's say you have a Wednesday check-in too. Because I didn't want to block a day in between guests, because if you have 5 reservations in a month, that's 5 days out of the month. You're not making money. That's like 20% of your, pardon my math here, of your property that is just unoccupied because of that. So you always want to, you're doing sim day check-in checkouts. And it's just incredibly stressful. You call the cleaner, hey, it's 11, it's check-in time. Are you there yet? Because I have someone coming at 3. You need to make sure to do it on time. And sometimes people are there, but they're not answering, or they're not there and they're not answering. And it's just really stressful. And when you have 5-6 checkouts every month, those are like 5-6 stressful days.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to tackle. The nice thing with Turno is when they start cleaning, I get a notification, hey, they're there, they're working. I even see in real time, what are they doing? What checklist items are being checked off?
Right. And then
So
go ahead. Oh, I was going to add to that because I wanted to get into more of which I think is one of the most important parts, is the checklists and the pictures. I feel like that's everything, especially when you run a remote operation. You're not going to be able to check on the property every single day. You want to know if the cleaners are cleaning the place, and if the guest is complaining about something, you want to have backup and proof in case you need to file a claim, which a lot of times we need those photos, right? Seeing the photos before and seeing it after the stay, you can confirm that 1, something got stolen, 2, something got broken, and that's actually part of the criteria that's needed for platforms to accept and give out reimbursements.
Absolutely. What I like about it is give you like a point in time snapshot of the property. So if, let's say, the microwave door is broken, you can tell which day that happened in, right? Because you have pictures from after every stay of everything that you care about. And you can say, no, I have a picture that it wasn't broken before. Because the guests, they don't want to pay for damages. Be like, hey, this is how it was.
And they don't think that we document. They're like, oh, yeah, this is how it was. Like, it wasn't me.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Fight me, So it's great. But I think this gives power to the host where you can actually depict that it was them. I want to share a story where this saved my butt. I had a guest that claimed that the cleaner or us, have left marijuana on top of the pool table, and it was like our fault. And so after going back into the photos, we realized the cleaner had taken a picture of the place being the pool table didn't have any weed on it, no marijuana. Now, as we went into the property to address this issue, because we had the cleaner go back, she saw the kids giggling as she was walking around and depicted that they were the ones that planted it. Possibly parents didn't know about it. I don't know what the situation was. But this saved us from us convincing the parents that, like, your kids are smoking weed. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And thankfully, these guests understood that and said, you know what, we're going to drop those accusations. Sorry about that. But the picture evidence is what saved us and allowed the guests to have trust in us as strangers versus their own children, is because we had the backup of the photos.
And that kind of stuff isn't funny because when it comes to, let's say, like safety or legality, you can get deplatformed from Airbnb.
Oh, yeah. And
it could be, I think the vast majority of guests are not malicious. They're well-meaning, they're just doing their thing. But sometimes there are people who are just in it to get a
Delicious.
refund or whatnot, and they'll make up the darnest things. So you just need to have that backup. Now, the primary use case is really quality control. Is for you who's running this business remotely, like you really don't want to be an inspector. This is not where you're getting into this business, is for you to walk around the property and inspect it every time. If you're doing it, stop. There are other ways to achieve that. The cleaners are already there. You can just require them to take a photo through the app. Another cool thing that we do is you can specify that you only want camera pictures and not camera roll, because sometimes
I didn't
there
even
could
know
be
that.
rogue operators that would just upload the same pictures every time. But you can require, if you want specifically camera pictures, not camera roll pictures. If you're tracking time, if you're paying hourly, then we can help you pay by the minute. So whenever they start a project and finish a project, we record the time, and then you calculate the payouts by the minute. There's also a geolocation feature where you know where the cleaners were when they started. And again, just allowing you to operate a business remotely without being there with a stopwatch, right?
100%. And that's the only way you can scale, I've realized, is having these systems and operations in place to be able to do that. Curious, you guys also have the payment structure, which I think is also a big part of dealing with 1099 cleaners. Keep in mind, I am at 44 properties, so naturally, this is something that I have to deal with at a larger scale.
If all your cleaners are paid through Turno, then you don't have to deal with it because we take care of it. So here's a little bit how Turno works. You can find your cleaners on Turno, and then
Can we talk about that? Finding the marketplace?
Exactly. So you can work with Turno in multiple ways. One way, if you have your own cleaners, you invite them to Turno to collaborate, and then you can add a payment method, and we would pay them on your behalf through your payment method. And then we would also issue the 1099s to your cleaners for you so that you don't have to. If you don't have your own cleaners, or you're missing some cleaners on some property, you can do a search on our platform, and we will show you the best cleaners in your area. You're going to get multiple bids, multiple prices, that you can choose the one cleaner that really works for you. And you can mix and match the cleaners that you already know with the cleaners that you meet on Turno. So it's a really flexible system, and it allows you to scale your operation in more than one location. Right? Let's say that you're in LA, you're running your LA operations, and you find a really great property in Montana, for example. Right? You get that property, and then you can find a cleaner on Turno to help you in Montana. Then a few months later, you find a great one in North Carolina. Same thing. So we see lots of hosts who are expanding operations in multiple locations, and they're able to run like a centralized operations through Turno.
Wow. And so let's say with the cleaners, right? Do you guys vet those cleaners for everybody on the platform, or do they go through background checks or anything like that?
Yeah, so the cleaners that you find and meet on Turno, they've had a background check, they've had a reference check, they've had identity checks, they have been reviewed by other hosts. Some of them have reviews from Airbnb guests. When a guest on Airbnb leaves a cleaning review, we're able to tie it back to the particular cleaner that was there before. So there's like a lot of information that we put in order to surface really the best people.
Got it. Now, you've dealt with a lot of cleaners on both sides. You've heard your platform, right? So you have the cleaning side and you have the hosting side. So I'm curious, what are some of the tips and tricks you have with working with cleaners as Airbnb hosts? What are some things that you recommend, best practices, whatever the case may be, for working with a vendor as important as a cleaner?
I love that. I think Ronald Reagan said it nicely. Trust by verify. Initially, work with people from a position of trust. They want to do a good job, but verify. So this is where kind of the checklist comes through. People can't give you what you want unless you tell them what you want. When you tell them what you want, you express what it is that you need done through your checklist. So you can be very detailed about how you want the property staged, what processes are important to you, and just be really detailed in expressing what you want. Because if you're not expressing it, that they won't be able to fully satisfy you. I also recommend always having redundancies. Instead of finding just one cleaner on Turno, find two, find three. Make sure each of them gets to work on your property every now and then. Because having a backup that has never worked on your property isn't really a backup.
Right.
Because they're not trained on it. So make sure you're letting some people train on your property if they're going to be a solid backup. Because things happen, right? People's cars break down, people's kids get sick, people sometimes just quit. So it's always important to plan for these cases. So just work with multiple vendors. We know that once you find someone that you like, you're just like, oh, this is sad, this is all good. But they're people, they're human, and sometimes they're going to fail. And you need to have a replacement, a backup that you also trust, that'll be able to step in and not cause a huge interruption in your flow. And the nice thing about Turno is you create your checklist once, and then you can have different vendors work against the same checklist.
For the house.
So the onboarding and the training is not something you need to invest in every time. You invest in building your checklist once, and then you can slot different cleaners against it and create that redundancy that is really important if you want to keep your sanity and not mentally cap yourself. You can have 5 properties, but you're just mentally capped. You're just like, the problems are coming in, the issues are coming in, and you're just like, you've had it.
Right.
But if you have processes that automate things and you have redundancies in place, then you'll be able to keep growing.
Got it. And so you guys, with cleaners, how do you know you're paying the right price? And what are some of the questions or criteria that comes with hiring a cleaner for your short-term rental business?
So even if you have a cleaner right now, I encourage you to go on Turno and do a cleaner search and just see what prices are there in the market. The nice thing in Turno is that you're going to get the lowest sustainable price there is, because the cleaners know that they are bidding against other people in their area. But they're also putting the prices that would still motivate them to leave the house, right? So they're not saying just throw a number and hope that you take it, because this is in some way comparison shopping. I would say don't underpay, because that is correlated with high levels of attrition, right? Make sure that it's fair. So you're gonna get, let's say in LA, if you do a search in Turno, you're gonna get, 20 bids, and they're gonna cluster around different prices, and you'll see that the cleaners that have a lot of experience, they've done like thousands of projects on Turno, they have like dozens and dozens of 5-star reviews, their prices are going to be a little higher. But that's okay. You know why? Because they're lower risk. They've proven themselves. And they can command prices that are slightly higher.
For the reliability and for the
reliability.
Yeah. But newcomers are probably going to be priced lower to try to build that reputation. And
Yes.
then, got it. It's a marketplace at the end of the day.
In the end of the day, it's the same way as your Airbnb listing. When you're listing it for the first time, you're usually going to price it a little lower so that you can get in those guest reviews and build your reputation and build your status. And it's similar on Turno. And this is why cleaners love the platform, because they can build a reputation that is
trusted.
It's worth something, right? If you have a reputation of having completed hundreds, thousands of projects, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds or thousands, and you have really solid reviews, that's gold. People are going to want to work with you, and it's really going to build a huge book of business for you. So we see cleaners that start alone, they build that reputation, they start hiring people.
There you go.
So they can service, instead of 2 or 3 or 4 customers, they can service 40, 50 customers.
And that's the way that they scale. And so do you recommend going with an individual cleaner versus a company? What is the pros and cons of both?
I would say just work with someone who's giving you a good price and has good reviews. They might use extra help, but let them manage it how they see fit. Sometimes they'll be the one doing it. Sometimes they're really good at getting people and staying on top of them. But in the end of the day, you need to see results. You want to see that the communication is good, the responsiveness is there. But it will all reflect in the reviews. We let people leave very detailed reviews. It's not just stars. It's also like attributes, good communicator, good quality.
Just like
Airbnb, pleasant to work with.
Got multiple categories.
But and you can You look at the profile and you see, okay, there's like 20, 30 reviews here. They're all the same thing, so you can have trust in it. I'd also be understanding if someone has one or two bad reviews, that things happen. Some other customers might just not be reasonable. Just like you treat like a Yelp review. There's a lot of fives, there's some ones. There's always going to be
Some pissed
there's always
off.
going to be someone who's
Yeah.
unhappy. You kind
Yeah.
of have to see the body of work to analyze someone.
And so you guys don't only work with cleaners though. You guys also have maintenance coordination. Can you explain that and how that process is on the platform? Do you guys have billable rates and things of that nature?
So our marketplace of maintenance people isn't live yet. But if you have maintenance people that you already work with,
Yeah.
then you can invite them to Turno. You can run the payment through Turno, and then we'll take care of them 1099s. And the maintenance people can use our mobile app to upload pictures, document their work, report problems, and all these things. And you can invite maintenance people, pool people, yard people. If you're doing check-in, that's actually like very popular in Europe, where you would have someone meet you at the property, give you a key, and kind of show you around.
Yeah.
It's also something you can schedule through Turno.
You don't have that in the United States.
To a lesser extent.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent.
Yeah. Self-check-in.
Like in Europe, sometimes they don't have the electronic locks. It's like metal keys in a lot of places. They're very old school, which I like.
It's kind of nice having that personal touch when somebody arrives.
Yeah. There'll be like a real estate agent that has like an office in the city, and he has all these keys in his office, and he's like giving you the key and walking you through.
That's sweet. And so you do have maintenance pool people. Now, is it possible, let's say you're managing for other people, is it possible to do a billable rate on that? Okay, the maintenance person showed up for 30 minutes, and then you export that later down the road, and then you can have like billables charged to each client, something like that.
So we can process hourly rates. So you can say it's a 30-minute project, $100 an hour. I'm just making it for the ease of doing math on the fly. Then that's like a $50 payment. So we definitely do hourly projects. It's very easy. You can run the payments through Turno, or we have an export capability where we give you an Excel file with all the projects and the times.
And you could do it per home. You can like assign it to which home it is.
You can have different rates for different people, different rates for different properties. You can also invite people to collaborate with you on Turno, only giving them access to certain properties. So if you have people who are helping you with your North Carolina homes, you can invite them and only show them the North Carolina homes, or your LA homes, or your Montana homes. I'm already building you an empire with North Carolina, Montana, and LA.
There you go. My empire is just building, even though I don't own any of those places. But that's fun. So cool. So there's a lot of things with maintenance, cleaners. Now, I'm curious on your end, do you still do hosting, or are you 100% focused on building out this tech product?
So right now I'm focused just on this tech product, and unfortunately where I live right now, Honolulu, we've had issues with regulation that ruined it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't really do too much because of that. Okay. Cool. What are some, because you mentioned about maintenance department and how that's being built out. So that's a little teaser. I heard that from Mike, but I'm curious, what do you have planned for Turno? What are some of the things that you're building in the future that you see yourself with the industry and how operations are going?
The ultimate vision is to empower and enable people to run properties from home anywhere in the world, so that you can find reliable professionals that you can delegate tasks to anywhere in the world. That's all kinds of tasks. Right now, you can find cleaners literally all over the world on Turno. We are supporting the app obviously in English, in Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, French, and German. So all of these countries and languages are supported. With the marketplace right now being the most robust in North America, but also Australia, New Zealand, Canada, UK, and Europe. So that's the vision. Just you can buy a property or operate someone else's property with trusted professionals anywhere in the world, where they know the app, they are already connected, they know what to do, and that you have complete control and visibility.
Wow. So I could buy a property in Spain right now and be able to get my team onboarded with a click of a finger, have the marketplace, have the trusted professionals, build the operations, and then from there I can just run the show pretty much.
That's the vision.
That's the vision.
That's the vision.
Cool. And so with that, you mentioned Spanish. Now, let's say that, because this happens, at least in my market, where you have a cleaner that maybe doesn't speak the best English, but they're maybe Spanish speaking, for instance, and they need to understand the application. Is it automatically translated into Spanish from English when we input it in English? Or how
That
does
is
that work?
coming. So they can see everything in Spanish right now. So they can set their language to Spanish. Like the app controls are going to be in Spanish. And in the next, quarter or two, we're going to integrate AI translations so that your checklists and the chat, we have an in-app chat.
Right.
If you type something in English, like, hey, I think you forgot to empty the dishwasher, that it will translate that into their preferred language.
That's
And
cool.
they write to you like, hey, okay, fine, I'm on my way to do it. They'll type it in Spanish and you'll receive it in English.
Wow.
And that would allow you to kind of tap to
A new market.
a labor pool that
Yeah.
wasn't available to you before because of the language barriers.
That is so interesting because I've thought of that. My friend, because I used to work at Avance, so big short-term rental property management company as a product manager. And one of my friends was in the service division. He spoke Spanish, and he was able to get a bunch of people from Craigslist that were cleaners because he spoke Spanish. And no matter how hard I try, I'm not the best Spanish speaker, and so I automatically will not be able to tap into that buyer pool. Or sorry, not in the buyer pool, labor pool. And with something like that, I think that'd be really interesting to see how that even opens up the doors for you guys to be able to get more Spanish speaking or German speaking or whatever people on the platform that allows your labor pool to just build from there.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about it because it's one of those moments where a little bit of technology helps people to find opportunities that otherwise were not there for them. So if you're a Spanish speaker, you're an immigrant to this country, and you want to build a business and language is holding you back, if we can help you overcome that, that's a great feeling.
That's really cool. And I'm curious, do you know how many people you employ? I don't know if you have the statistics off your mind, but I think it'd be really interesting to see how many families are you impacting? How much money are you generating for cleaners? Curious about that.
So obviously we're not employing the cleaners.
True.
I
You're
know.
facilitating that connection, but
But we're letting them build a business
correct.
in the same way that Airbnb is not employing you.
Correct. You're right.
They're-
You're right.
But it's tens of thousands of cleaners, and it's a big number. It's a big number, and it's a great source of pride for us to know that for a lot of these families, that's a big source of their income. And sometimes I talk to the team, the technical team, about, as with every product, ours has sometimes bugs and glitches. And I want to say, hey, listen, guys, I just want you to have that sense of urgency because there's someone out there who needs this app to open, and because he needs to know what the access code is in order to make money, in order to pay their rent.
Yeah.
So someone's rent is on the line. So you need to act with urgency to resolve the bugs because it's a very critical system for a lot of people.
It's so interesting because our cleaners, if they don't get paid on time, it's like some cleaners, not all, but some cleaners live paycheck to paycheck. And so if they don't get paid on time, it's everything. They can miss a monthly rent payment. They might miss utility payment. They might need it for something. And so it's just really, it's a lot of, I feel like it's a lot of stress too, almost.
So when you process a payment to a cleaner, we immediately send the money.
Oh, you do?
It doesn't sit with us for not even a fraction of a second. So when we process a payment, it immediately goes to cleaners, and right now it's 2 to 3 days before it hits their bank account. So they don't have to wait for a weekly paycheck or a monthly paycheck or sending invoices or collecting.
Get it right away.
Money gets there almost instantly.
Within obviously the 2 to 3 business days is the bank. You can't really do much about that.
Yeah, you can't do much. We're not sitting on it for not even
Yeah.
a second. And it's relating to what you were saying, that it's always nice that you worked. You to getting your money faster is a good thing.
100%. 100%. So, Assaf, I want to get into the last three questions for you and tie this together. Number one, is there a book or a podcast or a video or follower, somebody that inspired you a lot and somebody you recommend from a knowledge perspective?
That's a good question. There's I don't have that on the tip of my tongue of the books that really inspired me the most. But there are some podcasts that I listen to religiously, other than yours, of course. So my favorite podcast is Invest Like the Best.
Interesting. What's that about?
It's not a real estate investment. More like startups and software and kind of public companies. And they bring founders of all these really interesting companies and they drill really deep about how they're growing their business, why are they doing what they're doing. So that one I always listen to on like a Saturday morning when I drop my daughter off at her practice. So we always listen to this.
Hold up. You're bringing your daughter to practice. Is this soccer practice?
Canoe paddling,
which is really interesting. But you drop her off, and so you make her listen to the podcast when you drive her too. Is she like, Dad, can you please shut that off? Can I listen to Katy Perry or whatever, Taylor Swift, whatever girls listen to at that age?
You know what? I think it's like a great way to drip a little bit of education into someone is have them passively listen to something and absorb some of the vocabulary, some of kind of the way people express themselves, and maybe some ideas along the way.
I love that. No, it's subliminal. Your subconscious is still going to listen to it here and there. So it's going to be something that she's going to gather. That's great. Cool. Second question. Okay, so let's say that you can have, time was not of essence. You can have the perfect product right now. What would Turno look like right now? Let's say today you can have it. Let's say you can have the most optimal everything with a snap of a finger. It can happen. What does that look like?
It's like I mentioned before. Our vision is to give you access to reliable professionals all over the world and that you can communicate them in your language and they'll understand you in their language. Obviously, I'd like to build a couple more features to support that, but that's our vision, is to enable everyone to operate a short-term rental from anywhere.
Okay, cool. And I know we touched on this before, but I'm going to iterate this question. What does the future look like for Turno? And let's talk about near future. What does the next year look like? What are you guys really focusing on? You guys said you guys are looking at the language. You guys are looking to launch the maintenance. Is there anything else that you guys are looking to do in the next year from a product roadmap?
Yeah, so we want to really drill down and hone on driving quality, is making sure that all the little details are not left to chance. So we're going to boost our focus on tying those guest reviews to the cleaners and report it to you in a way that you know if you have someone who's underperforming, overperforming. We're looking into kind of automating bonuses. So you can say, hey, I want every time someone receives a 5-star cleaning
that's cool.
review, I want to send them a little bonus.
Nice.
I think it's really important.
Wow, that's very nice. I know hosts that do that right now, but they do it manually.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to do it. We want to do it automatically, so you never miss it. And again, that they get their money sooner rather than later. And working with salespeople and working with everyone, the faster the cycle is, the more effective the incentive is. So if you okay, I'm going to give you bonuses every quarter looking back at your performance, you're not going to be, it's not going to affect behavior as well as you got a review, boom, $20 in your bank.
Feedback loop. You want the feedback loop to be quick because then it's like a dog that gets a reward a month later. I want the reward now. I got in my cage. I stopped barking. I sat down. Whatever. I want my reward now.
Or kids also.
Yeah.
Same thing. If you punish them for something they did 3 days ago, it's not going to be effective. They're just going to think you're mean.
Yeah.
Not that I actually don't believe in punishment. I think like positive reinforcement is a lot
Let's say
more
positive reinforcement. Let's say they did something good and you wanted to reward them. Rewarding them 5 days later, it's like, all right, it loses its meaning.
It loses its meaning. And also with employees, I know a lot of companies that they have their bonuses in April, looking back at the year before. And I think it's not effective. I think there's a little bit of a retention play there, having you wait for your bonus for a long time. But I don't think it drives performance as well as, hey, finish this project on time. There's a bonus right there in your next paycheck.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
So bonuses are better when they're delivered faster. It also makes you a better manager, because if you say, I'm going to set this policy of bonuses, I just tick a button and it happens. You don't have to follow up on the promises you made all the time. You just turn a button on and it's there.
I like that. And for people that want to learn more about Turno, how can they find you?
We have a beautiful 5-letter domain,
That probably
Turno.com.
took a lot to have that domain. But what is it?
Turno.com.
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 That's probably really expensive. I'll give you that.
There's a really high correlation between short domains and successful companies.
There you go. Did you learn that from your podcast?
It's an observation I made.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Thank you so much for coming on, speaking your truth.
And that's a wrap. Thank you for listening to the Patryk Real Estate Show. If you found this episode helpful, please give us a follow and leave us a 5-star review. Your support truly means a lot. And connect with Patryk in the show notes below. Until next time.